Good day doodlers, welcome to Draw Cartoons. Today we're going to learn how to draw Shazam. Make sure you watch the whole video and let me know who you'd like me to draw next in the comments. Now, let's begin today's tutorial. You're going to need a pencil, paper, an eraser, and a Sharpie to go over your sketch with. Let's go! Let's get started. But first, if you want to learn to draw the fast and easy way, make sure you subscribe to the channel and ring that bell. Let's begin. So have your pencil at the ready. Let's start by drawing the head. Now, what we usually do when we draw the head, we usually draw kind of a balloon shape, but we're not going to do that this time. This time, due to the shape of Shazam's head, it's got kind of very masculine, boxy look to it. This time we're going to actually draw a rectangle like this. It's a little bit taller than it is wide. Once you've drawn that, cut it down the middle gently with your pencil like this, and then keep going for a while until you get to about a total of 2.5 heads in height. So 1, 2, it's a bit less than 2.5, but you can go 2.5 if you like, as long as the proportions are more or less the same. And then once you get to the bottom, just draw a line across the bottom to show where the floor is. So once you've drawn that, we'll draw a small box here. This is where the neck's going to go, and it's going to cut right through the middle, just like that, sitting right underneath our rectangle. Now once that's in, we're going to draw another shape, and this time it's a bit like a box, but it's actually wider at the top here than it's going to be at the bottom. So to get your proportions right, the rest of this guideline here, cut this in half right through the middle, so about there, okay? Just leave a little line there, right through the middle of this guideline. Once you've done that, now we know where to draw the torso down to. So we'll come out here, we'll draw the shoulder, and then we'll come down at a slight angle, just like that. Okay, see that? It's not straight down, it's just kind of diagonally, and then go across and meet where you cut that guideline in the middle. And just make sure you do that on the other side. So going across almost as wide as the head, come down, and then we're going to cut across to the middle, just there. Now we'll draw a V that comes down about that far through the torso and then comes back up. That's where his logo is going to be, his lightning bolt on his chest is going to be. Once you've drawn that, we'll start here. We're going to draw the belt. So it's nice and simple. Down a little bit, and then diagonally down towards the middle here. Bring it back up, and then just tuck it back up under the hip here. Once you've drawn that, we're going to draw the legs. So you can start here. Let's give it a slight outwards curve, and as you approach the bottom, just draw a small bump that comes out and flattens out on the floor here. Now we can draw the inside of the leg, so very close to our central guideline here. I'm going to draw a line that comes back up, and then we're going to join the legs together with a line that goes all the way across like that, right through our guideline. And then let's bring the inside of the other leg down to the floor again. So now we need to draw this, but on this side. So we're going to do the same, but mirrored. We're going to start here, and we're going to draw a line that curves down, and then just kind of bumps at the bottom like that. Nice and simple. And there you go. Now that that's drawn, we can start drawing in the shapes of the arms. So you can start with this shoulder here, just draw a line that curves down, and once you get almost level with this belt here, almost, we'll draw a line that goes across a little bit for the wrist, and then we'll just bring the arm back up to the chest like that. So obviously we need to do that on both sides. So let's bring a line down, almost to the top of the belt, draw a line across, not too wide, and then go back to the waist like that. Now once you've got that drawn in, we can actually tackle the hands. So let's get the hands out of the way straight away. I have done a tutorial on how to draw hands, which I'll put here as always, but for now we're just going to draw a thumb that curves out, a line across as it curves in. This is a closed fist, and then we'll come back out and curl it around for one of the knuckles, another bump for a second knuckle, and then one last one that curves around to the wrist. Now if that was too fast for you, you can always reverse the video, you can always rewind and go back, but I'm going to show you this again on this side. So again, I'm going to come out from the wrist here, curving out, then as I curve back in, there's a line across just like that, and then another bump over here, 2, 3, and then we'll just bring it back to the wrist. Okay, now he has only got like a box for a face at the moment, so it's about time we fix that now that we've got all the basic shapes in place. It's mostly details down here now, so we'll come back to that. We're going to move to the head now. So let's get the face shape finished. So starting, if you draw a line across the middle here, it might be more helpful actually, so do that now. And once that line is in, you can start from where these lines meet, and you can just kind of bring it down diagonally and round off the corner of the rectangle, almost like you're cutting around it, cutting it off, okay? So I'll just show you that again on the other side. So here, where these lines meet, I'm going to come down diagonally, curve away from the corner, and then towards the chin. And that line's already kind of there for us. So if it's helpful at this point, you can get your eraser and just kind of carefully get rid of this side here and this here. You don't need that anymore. Now again, where these lines meet, we can draw in some ears that kind of just sits below the line like that. See what I mean? So it's sitting on the outside of the face, but the top of the ear is where this middle guideline is, right across here. Now for the rest of the head shape, we're going to do the same at the top that we did at the bottom. We're going to cut off those corners. We don't need those corners anymore. So we'll just round it off like that, okay? Just rounding it off at the corners. And again, if it's helpful, you can get your eraser and you can just kind of carefully rub out those corners. And we've got our head shape. So now we can kind of draw in the rest of those details. So we'll start with the eyes, but in order to draw the eyes well, I think we should actually start with the eyebrows. So let's do that first. So I'm going to start with this one. About here, we're going to draw a diagonal line that comes down. We're going to give him kind of a cocky expression to match his character a bit. So it's just kind of like a sausage that angles this way, like that. And the other one, we're going to draw it slightly raised, but also a bit curved, like that. And we get this kind of, like I said, a very kind of cocky expression going on. So now that we've got those in, we can actually draw the eyes in. It's a bit easier to draw the eyes now. So under this one, I'm just going to draw a big dome, a big kind of semicircle that just kind of comes from one end and goes to the other eyebrow, other end of the eyebrow, sorry. And then there's a small pill shape here for a pupil. Try and get that in the middle of the eye. Now on this side, just going to draw another eye. I'm going to kind of flatten it out at the top, make the eye look more relaxed, and then that same semicircle shape just here, and then another kind of pill shape almost going down, well it is kind of going down to this guideline here, and then meeting at the top. And there we go, we've got our eyes drawn in right there. With the eyes drawn in, it's now time to tackle the rest of the face. So let's draw a small curve just below the eyes, between them here for the nose. And now for the mouth. Now we need a mouth that matches the expression showed by the eyes. So we want to go for a kind of cocky look on the mouth. So we'll do that now. I'm going to cut a line right through this guideline here. I'm going to go a little bit further on the right than I am on the left, and curve up and then just give it a kind of edge there. And we immediately get this kind of very, very confident smirk going on there. So with that drawn, let's draw in some cheekbones, just coming away from the ears, and then gently dipping down at the end, okay? I'll show you that on the other side here. So it curves away from the ear and then goes down just like that. Now we can draw in the hair. So these sideburns just start where the ears are, more or less in the middle of the ears, and then it comes up. And as we get to the top of the head, it's going to kind of dip down towards the middle and go around those eyebrows. Don't want it to go over those eyebrows. And we'll come down on this side and then meet the ear on that side. If you want, you can kind of give it a bit more inflection along the top. We'll give it a bit of mess if you want. Some kind of spiky tufts going on, add a bit of detail. Don't want it looking too smooth. It is quite slick on the actual character Shazam, but I think it has a bit more character if we just add a bit of hair kind of sticking out a bit on the... Maybe he's just been in a fight and he hasn't managed to tidy it up yet or something. So, we can move on to the details of the body now. Now let's start with the cape. So I'm going to draw a small circle on this shoulder, and then on the other shoulder I'm going to draw a circle there too. And with those circles drawn, I'm going to draw a loop that just kind of goes under it like that. Okay, just on each shoulder like that. So it's kind of holding the circle inside it. And then a small bump that kind of makes that loop into almost like a heart shape, but still with that circle inside. Now with our guideline there, it might be tough to see that, so try and envisage it without that there. Let me just kind of erase that and show you. So you're not going to draw that line, you're not going to draw that when you go over it with your Sharpie, you'll just draw this kind of bump on each side. And the reason we're doing that is it kind of gives the cloak, the cape, an impression that it's made of cloth and it's quite bendy, it's kind of creased right here, if you can see that. So without further ado, let's move on to the rest of the cape. Now obviously the cape goes behind him, so I'm going to start here just where his armpit is and come down, give it a bit of a sticky out bit at the end, and then we'll just bring it behind the legs like that, just between them there, and then coming out on this side, and we'll bring it down again to meet up. So now that that's drawn in, we can draw in the lightning logo on his chest right here. It's missing, isn't it? So to do that, start here, we'll come down a little bit, but then spike up. Only a little bit, not much. Bring it down again, but then suddenly spike up. And then lastly, bring it down right to the middle. Now we need to bring it back up to the other side, so we'll do that now. We'll come away, and as we get to about here, spike down. Go back up a bit, then spike down, and then finish by going up to the neck. And there we go, we have his lightning logo drawn. So we can draw his gauntlets in now. So these are quite simple, they're just a few loops that go around the arm. 1, 2, 3, just like that. So we have to do that on the other side. 1, 2, 3. And finally, his boots. His boots have got quite an intricate pattern on them, so stay with me here. We'll do this together. So start from the toe and curve away, then give it a slight kind of line down like that, and then follow it all the way to the heel. Okay, not an easy pattern that, but I'll show you again on the other side. So come away from the toes with a curve, bring it down a bit, and then draw the rest of the sole going all the way to the heel. Now that that's drawn, we can draw a small part of the ankle guard that comes away from here and then finishes off at the back of the ankle. And we'll just draw another line above that. So these parts are gold, this is gold, and this bit's red. So that'll come together in the final drawing if you're having trouble understanding that. But for now, we'll just draw the other ankle guard, so come down away like that, and then to the back, and again another line above it just to give it some shape. Now the rest of the boots is fairly straightforward, you just have to kind of get a certain detail right. So we'll come away from the shin like this, then come up diagonally and then across to the back of the leg. So I'll show you that on the other side. We'll come away from the shin, when we get about halfway through, just jut up diagonally and then across to the back of the leg. Draw that again on top of it, the same pattern, and then we'll do all that one more time on top. So quite closely this time, coming up like that, and then cutting across. Away from the shin, up a bit, and then to the thigh. And one more, and we should finish more or less where the legs meet, like that. There we go. And there we go, our sketch of Shazam is actually finished at this point, so get your Sharpies ready. We're going to go over all the lines you want to keep with our Sharpie and make sure you don't go over any of the guidelines, so that for example, any of the lines that we drew originally just to kind of help us get our shapes down. You don't want to draw any of those. Let's just go over the lines with our Sharpie that we want to keep, and we'll have an awesome drawing of Shazam himself. While you're going over your sketch with your Sharpie, it might be a great time to correct any last mistakes you spot as you go along and fix them. And there you go, your very own drawing of Shazam. Also, it would be great to see your artwork in my brand new Discord channel. I'm sure some of you are eager to share some of your drawings that you've done with me, and I'd be more than happy to see them. Hit the link in the description below to join the Discord channel and start sharing right away. Until next time.